7 ways to become too strong for evil people to harm. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Seneca. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. You know the exact moment it happens. Someone says something about you. False, sharp, calculated. They don't raise their voice, they don't threaten you. They just drop the words and walk away. And you carry it. You carry it through the afternoon, into dinner, into bed. You replay the conversation. You think of better comebacks. You wonder what you did wrong. You wonder why they needed to hurt you. You wonder if maybe they were right. Here's what they're counting on: that you will care what they think. That's it. That's the whole game. Evil people don't need armies. They don't need power or wealth or status. They don't need to be smarter than you, stronger than you, or even more talented than you. They just need one thing. They need you to care. Care about their opinion, care about their approval, care about whether they include you, praise you, or acknowledge you. Care about whether they're talking about you behind your back. Care about whether they finally see your worth. Care is the door. Care is the window. Care is the crack they slip through while you're asleep. And here's what makes it so exhausting. You're not just defending against them. You're defending against yourself, against your own need to be understood, against your own hope that they'll stop, against your own imagination, which takes their smallest jab and turns it into a feature film about your inadequacy. They don't have to do the work. You do it for them. Stoicism offers something else. Not thicker skin, not pretending it doesn't hurt, not learning to let things roll off your back while secretly replaying their words on a loop. A fortress, not stone, not steel, judgment, perception, the kind of walls where someone can stand outside and scream insults and you don't even look up from your work. Not because you're ignoring them, because their voice doesn't reach that far. This isn't coldness. This isn't not caring about anyone. This is precision. This is knowing where your care belongs, where your attention is actually useful, and where you've been giving it away for free to people who never deserved it. Seneca survived Nero. Marcus Aurelius buried 15 children, faced endless betrayals, and watched his own son undo everything he built. These were not sheltered men reading scrolls by candlelight. They were targets. They had enemies with real power, enemies who could exile them, imprison them, or execute them. And they didn't break. Not because they were lucky, not because their enemies were merciful, because they built differently, wall by wall, choice by choice, until no opinion from the outside could reach the inside, until their fortress was complete. You can build this too. Comment below, "My mind is my fortress. No one enters without permission." Like and subscribe. This is the only armor you'll ever need. Stay until the end. Way 7 is the kill shot. Number 1. Their opinion of you is their affair, not yours. Someone calls you worthless. That sound leaves their mouth and travels through the air toward you. You can catch it, you can hold it, you can turn it over in your hands and examine it from every angle. You can let it settle into your chest and make a home there, or you can let it fall to the ground. This sounds simple. It is not. Your mind has spent years training itself to catch every opinion thrown at it. You've been taught that what others think of you matters, that reputation is currency, that being seen as good, smart, capable, worthy is essential to survival. And in some ways, that's true. We are social creatures. We need community. We need belonging. But here's what they don't want you to know. Their opinion of you is not about you. It never was. Their opinion is a photograph of their own mind, their history, their wounds, their insecurities, their fear of being small, irrelevant, wrong, their need to feel superior, their desperation to believe the world owes them something it hasn't delivered. You are just the wall they're projecting on. Marcus Aurelius saw this clearly. He wrote,
Someone despises me. That is their affair. My own is not to do or say anything deserving of contempt. Notice the question he asks himself. Not, how do I make them stop? Not, what did I do wrong? Not, how can I change their mind? He asks, am I actually behaving badly? If the answer is no, the conversation is over. You have done your part. What remains is noise, and noise does not require a response. This is not denial. This is not pretending the insult didn't happen. This is precision, surgical precision about what belongs to you and what belongs to them. If you owe someone money, that is yours to fix. If you broke a promise, that is yours to repair. If you were careless with someone's trust, that is yours to rebuild. If you spoke harshly when you should have spoken kindly, that is yours to apologize for. Those are things within your control. Those are your affairs. What they say about you after you've fixed it, not yours. What they still believe even though you've changed, not yours. What they tell others to justify their own cruelty, not yours. What they project onto you because they can't face themselves, not yours. Evil people need you confused about ownership. They need you tangled up in their version of you. They need you defending, explaining, proving, performing. Every second you spend trying to change their mind is a second you're not building your own life. So today, someone will offer you an opinion you didn't ask for. Someone will imply something about your character. Someone will suggest you're not enough. Let it fall. Today, when someone offers an unsolicited opinion about you, say silently, that is your affair. Then return to what you were doing. No debate, no defense, no mental replay. Just release. Do this 10 times, then 100. Then it becomes reflex. Number 2, stop paying interest on troubles that haven't arrived. Evil people don't just attack what you have now, they attack what you're afraid of losing. They hint at consequences, they imply threats, they speak in possibilities dressed as certainties. You might regret that. People like you usually end up alone. I'd hate to see what happens to your reputation if this continues. They don't need to deliver on these threats, they just need to plant the seed. Your mind does the rest, and your mind is fertile ground for this. It runs ahead into next week, next month, next year, and builds the worst possible outcome in full color, with surround sound, with every painful detail rendered perfectly. You don't just imagine the bad outcome, you feel it, you rehearse it, you live it. You start dreading a conversation that hasn't happened. You rehearse accusations that haven't been made. You imagine yourself fired, exiled, humiliated, abandoned. You picture their faces, you hear their words, you feel the shame. By the time anything actually happens, you've already suffered it 100 times. And often, nothing happens at all. The threat was empty, the consequence never came, but you paid the suffering anyway. You paid interest on a debt you never owed. Seneca wrote, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." This is not about optimism. Stoicism does not promise that everything will work out. Things might not work out. You might actually lose the job. The relationship might actually end. Your fears might be realized, but they haven't been realized yet. And worrying about them does not prevent them. Worry is not preparation. Worry is not planning. Worry is not prudence. Worry pays suffering in advance for outcomes that may never arrive and getting nothing in return. Marcus Aurelius asked himself a powerful question. Is my cucumber bitter? Throw it away. Are there briars in the path? Go around. That is enough. Do not go on to ask, why did such things exist? The second question is the trap. Not the bitter cucumber, not the briars, the why did this happen to me, the what if it gets worse, the how could they do this, the what does this mean for my future. These questions don't solve anything. They don't remove the briars. They don't sweeten the cucumber. They only keep you stuck in a future that doesn't exist yet. The future is not yours. It never has been. It never will be. You have only this moment, right now, this breath, this choice, this one small action in front of you. In this moment, what needs to be done? In this moment, what choice is in front of you? In this moment, can you act with integrity? If yes, act. If no, wait. That's it. That's the whole discipline. Evil people count on your imagination working against you. They know they don't need to harm you. They just need to suggest harm and let your mind finish the job. They are arsonists who don't carry matches. They just whisper, "Fire," and watch you burn. Stop handing them the kindling. When you catch yourself projecting into the future, stop. Literally stop. Pause mid-thought. Then ask, what do I know for certain right now? Not what I suspect, not what I fear will happen based on past betrayals. What do I actually, factually,
undeniably know about this moment? Start there. Sometimes the answer is, I know nothing. I have no evidence this will happen. I am suffering in advance for a movie I wrote and directed myself. Sometimes the answer is, I know there is a possibility. I know it could happen, but it hasn't happened yet, and I can prepare without suffering. Preparation is action. Suffering is not. Preparation asks, what can I do now? Suffering asks, what if? Preparation strengthens you. Suffering drains you. Do not confuse the two. The fortress is not built by imagining future attacks. It is built by laying one stone at a time in the present, by handling today's problems today, by refusing to haul tomorrow's bricks onto today's wall. Tomorrow will come. It always does. And when it arrives, you will handle it with the same tools you have now: your judgment, your courage, your ability to choose. But you cannot handle it today. Today is already full. When anxiety about a future event hits, ask yourself, what actual evidence do I have that this will happen? If none, release it. If there is evidence, make one concrete preparation, one, and then return to now. Not 5 preparations, not a full contingency plan, one. Then trust yourself to handle the rest when the time comes. Number 3. Stop explaining yourself to people who are misunderstanding you on purpose. Here's what they don't tell you about evil people. They are not confused. They are not struggling to understand your perspective. They are not waiting for you to find the perfect words so the light bulb finally switches on. They understand you perfectly. They just benefit from pretending they don't. This is one of the oldest tactics in human history. You explain yourself clearly, calmly, with evidence. They nod along. Then they repeat the exact misinterpretation that serves their agenda. You explain again, slower, with more detail, more vulnerability. They nod again. Then they tell someone else the original lie. You become exhausted. You become frustrated. You start to believe that if you could just find the right combination of words, they would finally get it. They already got it. They don't want it. Marcus Aurelius said, the best way to avenge yourself is not to become like the wrongdoer. But that's exactly what happens when you keep explaining. You become frantic. You become desperate for their understanding. You chase them around trying to correct the record. You are now dancing to their music, and they didn't even have to ask. The Stoic way is simpler, sharper. Say it once, clearly, kindly, firmly. Then stop. If they repeat the misinterpretation, do not repeat yourself. Repeating yourself tells them you are willing to work for their approval. It tells them your peace depends on their agreement. It tells them exactly where the lever is. Seneca wrote, "It is the sign of a great mind to disregard the words of the great." Notice he didn't say argue with, he said disregard, complete non-engagement. Not because you're afraid, because you understand that some conversations are not conversations. They are traps dressed as dialogue. Some people will never understand you. Not because you're complicated, because understanding you would require them to admit they were wrong about you.
and that admission is too costly for their self-image. It would shatter the story they've told themselves. Let them be wrong. Your reputation lives in the minds of others. You can influence it, you cannot control it. At some point, you must release it into the wild and trust that time and consistency will do what frantic explanation never could. If someone genuinely wants to understand, they will ask questions, they will listen, they will reflect back what they heard. That's a conversation worth your energy. If someone just wants to pin a label on you that makes their own behavior acceptable, no set of words will stop them. You could have Socrates and Seneca standing beside you and it wouldn't matter. Save your breath. Use it to say something useful to someone who is actually listening. The next time someone deliberately misrepresents you, respond once, clearly, and then stop. If they push for more, say, "I've said what I have to say," and change the subject. Their frustration is not your emergency. Number 4. Stop waiting for them to change. This is the one nobody wants to hear. You want to believe that if you are good enough, patient enough, loving enough, you will reach them. That beneath the manipulation and cruelty is someone who just needs to feel seen. That your understanding will be the key that unlocks their humanity. Maybe that's true for some people. Maybe time and distance and growth do change people. It happens. People heal. People wake up. People become who they were always capable of being. But you cannot build your fortress on maybe. Marcus Aurelius woke up every morning and said to himself, "Today I shall meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, aggressive, treacherous, malicious, unsocial." Not maybe, not possibly, not I hope I don't, shall. He expected it. Not because he was cynical, because he was prepared. Because he knew that hoping for everyone's goodness was a recipe for being constantly surprised and constantly wounded. Hope is not a strategy. Hope that someone will stop being cruel to you keeps you in relationship with them. It keeps you trying new angles, new approaches, new ways of explaining yourself. It keeps you vulnerable to the same person who has already hurt you, sometimes repeatedly, sometimes for years. Seneca said, "It is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness." Part of that road is accepting that some people will stay exactly where they are. Your patience will not teach them. Your kindness will not reform them. Your forgiveness will not inspire them. Your love will not heal wounds they refuse to acknowledge. They will take what you give and ask for more. Then they will blame you for not giving enough. This is not about judging their potential. This is about accepting their current reality. Right now, this person is not safe. Right now, this person does not respect your boundaries. Right now, this person is using your hope against you as leverage. You can wish things were different. You can wish they were the person you thought they could be. But you must deal with the person who is actually standing in front of you. When you stop hoping they will change, something shifts. You stop waiting. You stop strategizing. You stop giving them chances they haven't earned. You stop interpreting their cruelty as a phase they'll grow out of. And you start making decisions based on what is actually true, not what you wish were true. If someone has shown you who they are, believe them. Not with bitterness, not with vengeance, not with a dramatic exit, just with clear eyes. This is who they are. This is what they do. Now, what do you need to do to protect what matters? The fortress has a gate. It opens for people who respect what's inside. It stays closed for people who only want to take. You are not cruel for closing the gate. You are not unforgiving. You are not giving up on them. You are simply acknowledging that some people cannot be trusted inside your walls. That is not punishment. That is protection. Name one person you are still hoping will change. Ask yourself, if they never change, if they stay exactly like this for the rest of their life, what would I need to do differently? Act on that answer, not when they change, now.
5. Stop wanting what they have. Evil people have a favorite tool: It's not anger. It's not intimidation. It's not even lies. It's desire. They make you want what you don't have. They make you feel incomplete without something. Then they position themselves as the gatekeeper. They can give it to you or withhold it. Approval, status, inclusion, a promotion, love, recognition. And you become manageable. Because as long as you want something from them, they have leverage. As long as you believe that promotion will finally make you feel worthy, they own you. As long as you believe their approval will validate your existence, you will work endlessly for crumbs. As long as you believe their version of success is the only version, you will chase a finish line they keep moving. Stoicism cuts this knot at the root, not by making you stop wanting. That's impossible. You are human. You will always want things. The goal is not to kill desire. The goal is to stop being ruled by it. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little who is poor, but the one who hankers for more." The solution is not to acquire everything you want. The solution is to examine what you believe you need. Do you actually need it? Or do you believe it will fix something it cannot possibly fix? Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This is not poverty worship. Stoics were not ascetics living in barrels. Seneca was one of the richest men in Rome. Marcus was emperor. They owned things. They enjoyed things. They just didn't need anything they didn't already have. That's the shift. Not, "I will never want anything." That's suppression. That breaks. The shift is, "I already have what I need to live well right now." Food? Yes. Shelter? Yes. The ability to think, choose, act? Yes. Community? Maybe. If not, the ability to build it. Purpose? You create it daily through your choices. When you stop believing you need something external to be complete, you stop being controllable. They can't threaten to take what you don't believe you need. They can't promise to give what you don't believe you lack. They can't make you chase what you already possess. This is why gratitude is not just nice, it's strategic. When you regularly acknowledge what you already have, you starve the part of you that grasps for more. You feed the part of you that recognizes sufficiency. Someone tries to make you jealous of their position. You don't need their position. You need to do your own work well. Someone tries to make you feel inadequate about your possessions. You have enough. More would be fine. Less would be manageable. You're not hanging on the edge. Someone tries to dangle approval in front of you. You already know who you are. Their approval changes nothing. This is the fortress of contentment, not lazy contentment, not settling, active contentment, the contentment of someone who has what they need and is therefore free to pursue what matters without desperation. Each morning, name 3 things you already have that you were worried about not having 5 years ago. A place to sleep, a person who cares, the ability to earn a living, your health, your mind. Build the habit of noticing sufficiency. Do this for 30 days and watch how much less you grasp. 6. Make your motives undeniable. This is the wall most people never build. You can build walls. You can stop borrowing trouble. You can stop explaining yourself. You can accept that people won't change. You can want what you already have and still be vulnerable. Because if your motives are not clean, you will eventually betray yourself. Evil people are skilled at finding the crack. They look for what you're ashamed of. They look for what you're hiding. They look for the gap between how you present yourself and who you actually are. That gap is where they dig. That gap is where they plant their hooks. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Simple words, almost too simple to matter, but try to live them for a single day. Every time you exaggerate to impress someone, every time you stay silent when you should speak, every time you take credit that isn't fully yours, every time you agree with something you don't actually believe, every time you pretend to be someone you're not, every time you hide a mistake instead of owning it. Each of these creates a tiny crack. You think no one sees, but you see, and that knowledge makes you smaller. It makes you defensive. It makes you careful in the wrong way. Not careful to be good, but careful not to be caught.
It makes you anxious about being discovered. And when someone threatens to expose that small gap between your words and your actions, you become afraid. You become manageable. You will do almost anything to protect the image you've built. The fortress isn't just about what you refuse to let in, it's about what you refuse to become. Seneca wrote, "Virtue is nothing else than right reason. Not dramatic sacrifice, not grand heroism, not grand gestures, just reason applied correctly to your own choices, consistently, daily." Did I do what I believed was right? Yes, then the outcome doesn't matter. No one can take that from you. Did I say what was true? Yes, then their interpretation doesn't matter. You did your part. Did I act with integrity? Yes, then their accusations don't land. They're throwing stones at a wall that has no cracks. This is the deepest strength. Not the strength to endure what others do to you, the strength to never do violence to your own character, the strength to lie down at night with nothing to hide and nothing to defend. When your motives are clean, you stop needing to explain yourself. You stop needing to defend your past decisions. You stop needing to prove you're a good person. You know that's enough. Evil people look for leverage. Clean motives leave no leverage. There's nothing to threaten you with. There's no secret they can expose. There's no hypocrisy they can exploit. There's no gap between who you claim to be and who you actually are. You've already done the work of aligning your actions with your values. Not perfectly, nobody is perfect, but honestly, with willingness to admit when you miss, with willingness to correct and continue. That honesty is the mortar that holds the stones together. Before any significant action, ask yourself, would I be comfortable if my decision was publicly known? Not because of what others would think, because of what you would know about yourself. If the answer is no, reconsider. If the answer is yes, proceed without looking back. 7. Stop making their cruelty about you. This is the final wall, the one that changes everything. We spend years trying to understand why people do what they do. We analyze their childhood. We consider their circumstances. We try to empathize with their struggles. We search for the wound that made them this way. We believe that if we can just understand their cruelty, it will hurt less. And all of this analysis has the same fatal flaw. Their actions are not about you. When someone lies about you, it is not about you. It is about what they gain by lying. Status, sympathy, control, revenge, protection from their own inadequacy. When someone excludes you, it is not about your worth. It is about what they gain by maintaining boundaries that serve them. Comfort, familiarity, power, the safety of a closed circle.
When someone betrays you, it is not because you were unworthy of loyalty. It is because they valued something else more than loyalty. Their ambition, their security, their image, their fear. Marcus Aurelius said, "They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil." Notice what he didn't say. He didn't say they are like this because of you. He didn't say they are like this because you failed them. He said they cannot tell good from evil. It is a failure of their perception, a blindness in their soul, not a verdict on your character. Seneca put it even more directly. Injustice never springs from a motive of justice. Evil people do what they do because it works for them. It gets them what they want. It protects them from what they fear. It maintains their image. It satisfies their envy. It distracts them from their own emptiness. You're just the scenery, the backdrop, the actor who happened to be on stage when they needed a target. This is not minimizing their harm. Their actions still damage. You still need to protect yourself. You still need boundaries. You may need to leave, cut contact, or seek justice. You may need to grieve what was taken from you. But you do not need to carry the weight of believing it was about you. Because when you believe their cruelty is about you, you become obsessed with fixing yourself. You search for what you did wrong. You try to become good enough that they will stop. You try to become small enough that they never notice you. You try to become perfect enough that they finally approve. None of that works, because the problem was never you.
The problem is that they need targets. If it wasn't you, it would be someone else. You just happened to be there when they needed to unload their pain, their envy, their self-hatred. When this lands, something shifts. You stop asking, why are they doing this to me? And start asking, what do I need to do now? You stop searching for hidden meaning in their behavior and start responding to the actual facts in front of you. They did this, this is the consequence, this is my next move. You are no longer the main character in their story. You never were. You are the main character in your own story. Act like it. When someone harms you, practice translating their action from personal to factual. Not, they hurt me because I'm not good enough, but they chose to hurt someone today. I was nearby. The first interpretation makes you small. The second keeps your eyes clear. The fortress is yours now. You don't need their permission. You don't need their understanding. You don't need their approval. You don't need them to change. You don't need them to admit you were right. You don't need them to finally see your worth. You need your own judgment, your own integrity, your own sense of what is yours and what is not. That is the fortress. Not something you build once and occupy forever, something you rebuild every day. Every morning the sun rises and the walls are tested. Every morning you choose to reinforce them or let them crumble. Today you choose. You choose to let their opinion fall to the ground where it belongs. You choose to stop paying interest on troubles that haven't arrived. You choose to stop explaining yourself to people who are misunderstanding you on purpose. You choose to stop waiting for people who will never change. You choose to want what you already have. You choose to make your motives undeniable. You choose to stop making their cruelty about your worth. Each choice is a stone. Each stone makes the wall higher. Each wall makes the fortress stronger. There will still be people who try to harm you. There will still be people who resent your strength. There will still be days when the old patterns pull at you, when their voices echo in your head, when you wonder if maybe they were right. But you will have something you didn't have before. You will have walls. You will have practice. You will have proof that you can survive their opinions and emerge with your character intact. They will find someone who does not need their approval, someone who does not fear their rejection, someone who does not crave their validation, someone who does not depend on their good opinion. They will find walls where they expected doors. Seneca wrote at the end of his life, after years of surviving Nero's paranoia, after watching friends die and enemies rise, after everything was taken from him and he still refused to break. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, but because we do not dare, things are difficult. You have dared. You have read to the end. You have considered these ideas. You have let them settle into your mind. You have done the hard part. Now comes the only part that matters. Build. Comment below, "My mind is my fortress. No one enters without permission." Like and subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear that they are not the problem. The fortress is yours. Build it.